Hey everybody! SamTheThomasFan1 is back with episode 3 of my Thomas and Friends season 17 reviews. Scruff's Makeover. Wait, are my eyes deceiving me? They actually did an episode that focuses on a minor character? Well, it's about time, right? Right. Anyway, before I begin, just to remind you that the link to this episode is in the description box for those of you who haven't seen it yet. So the episode starts off with a busy day at Whiff's rubbish dump. There was always plenty to do, and Scruff and Whiff were never happier than when they were collecting rubbish. Scruff says that they must get scrunching. Whiff asks Scruff if he is ready to roll, and Scruff replies that he is ready to roll. It was messy work, but Whiff and Scruff didn't mind. They were doing a really useful job, and they didn't care how dirty they looked. Whiff tells Scruff that there are some coal trucks to be collected at Tidmouth Sheds. Why there were coal trucks at Tidmouth Sheds, we'll never know. Scruff tells Whiff to leave it to him and that he'll be on his way, and whistles while he leaves. Has anyone noticed that Scruff's whistle sounds like Percy's? Now, Scruff doesn't mind about looking, well, scruffy, but some of the other engines couldn't understand how he could bear it, and OMG, James, Henry and Gordon are hanging together again. Can you believe that? I can't. It's like the classics have been brought back to life. But anyways, Scruff says that Scruff is a messy engine. Henry says that he hates to be that dirty, and James says that if he looked that scruffy, he'd stay in his shed. And using the same mode they use in season 2? Who's the writer of this episode? Lee Pressman. Well, Lee Pressman, you gave my respect. Big time. Scruff tells the 3 engines that being messy doesn't bother him, and he likes the way he is. Then he blows his Percy-like whistle and pulls the trucks away and tells the trucks that they're going to the rubbish dump and they're gonna get scrunching. I'll have to take points off for Scruff talking to the trucks though. Scruff then puffs into Napper's station and finds the Fat Controller and stops and says good morning. The Fat Controller turns around to say good morning back and sees Scruff, groans and says his paint is peeling and he's starting to rust. Wait, he's known Scruff for 2 seasons and he's just noticed this now? Is it me or has our production somehow erased his memory? Scruff suggests that he could have the rust scraped off, but the Fat Controller does not take it and says the only way to get the rust off is to be repainted. And Scruff is like, repainted? But that's my second worst fear, sir. My worst fear was being clean, but we all knew how that turned out. The Fat Controller told Scruff to deliver his trucks and pop to the steamworks immediately, and he adds that being repainted is the only answer. Scruff blows his Percy-like whistle and groans about being repainted while puffing away. Once Scruff had delivered his trucks, he went to the steamworks to be repainted. He groans inside. Victor welcomes Scruff and tells him that the Fat Controller had told him that he needs repainting. Scruff tries to explain, but Victor interrupts, thinking the answer is yes, and says that it will have him shiny and sparkly in no time. Kevin pulls up, welcomes Scruff, and guides him and says they must have him sanded down and patched up. The painters scrub, scrape, sanded down, painted, and polished Scruff's paintwork. And I think we all know that Scruff didn't enjoy it one bit. When all the work was finished, Scruff just wanted to go back to the rubbish dump and get back to work. He said he knew getting repainted wouldn't be fun. Victor tells Scruff that he looks so stylish and elegant. As Kevin pulls up, Scruff asks Victor what he means. Kevin says that Scruff looks great. As Scruff leaves the steamworks, he stops to look at his reflection on the glass side of a truck. He says that he looks so shiny and sparkly. Wait, Scruff, are you saying that you like being clean now? Why couldn't you have given it a chance when Thomas tried it? He could have saved a lot of trouble. Kevin asks Scruff what he thinks from inside the steamworks, and Scruff struggles and finally says he looks wonderful. And that's how the name Scruff stopped making sense. Victor says that if Scruff is happy, he and Kevin are happy. Scruff thanks Victor and Kevin and says he looks like a new engine. Duh, because you are a new engine. Scruff was so happy. His paintwork was gleaming and he felt on top of the world. All the other engines were very impressed, and by others I mean the 3 engines that insulted Scruff earlier. Gordon chuffs by and says Scruff looks very nice. Scruff goes by Henry while he stops at the water tower, and Henry calls Scruff a huge improvement. Scruff then goes by James, who seems to be shunting trucks, and James says that Scruff looks almost as bright and shiny as him now. Back at the waste dump, Whiff had a lot of work to do. Scruff blows his Percy-like whistle and says hello to Whiff, and asks him if he likes his shiny new paintwork. Whiff says that Scruff looks very nice, but he's glad he's back as it's getting very busy, and he really needs some help. Scruff questions the word help, and Whiff asks if he can just move the trucks. Scruff tells Whiff that he can't do that because it might get his new paintwork dusty. Who are you and what have you done with Scruff? Whiff then suggests that maybe he could shunt the other trucks outside and free. Scruff groans and apologizes to Whiff that he can't get his new paintwork covered in oil. He then thinks that he should get a new job that isn't so dirty. Thomas was collecting passengers at Wildworth Station when Scruff arrived looking for a new job. Scruff says hello to Thomas. Thomas says hello to Scruff and says he looks very clean and shiny. Wow, he's late for the party. Scruff says he hopes to stay clean and shiny, and also says he was wondering if Thomas would let him pull Annie and Clarabelle for today. But Thomas says pulling Annie and Clarabelle is his job, and Annie says that Scruff already has a job, and Clarabelle finishes with at the rubbish dump. Scruff says that he doesn't work there anymore as he can't stay clean while working at that dirty, smelly, oily, rusty, dusty old dump. Oh my gosh, that paintwork has turned him into James. Scruff went everywhere looking for a new job. Scruff finds Percy and says hello. Percy says hi and says he loves his new paintwork. Scruff thanks Percy and says he was wondering if he can pull the post train today. But Percy says pulling the post train is his job and that Scruff's job is at the rubbish dump. Everyone had a special job and nobody wanted to share with Scruff. Scruff is seen puffing with Gordon and Gordon blurts out, "Pull my express!" And he tells Scruff not to be ridiculous and tells him he's much too short and slow to pull his express, and he adds that his job is at the rubbish dump. But Scruff tells Gordon that he is shiny and clean now. Gordon replies by saying that he may be shiny and clean, but if you don't do your job, you won't be really useful. And I think he spoke from personal experience. Poor Scruff was horrified, and deep down he knew that what Gordon said was true. Which is weird because you'd usually hear something like that from Thomas. Everybody wants to be really useful. Back at the rubbish dump, Whiff was busier than ever. Whiff exclaims that he'll be in big trouble if the Fat Controller sees the mess he's made. Scruff pulls in, blowing his Percy-like whistle and says hi to Whiff, and Whiff says he can't stop, with too much to do with trucks coming through. Scruff replies by saying maybe he could help. Whiff tries to stop Scruff before his paint gets dirty. Scruff tells Whiff not to worry and that he'll be extra careful. Whiff then tells Scruff to look out as garbage from the garbage crane starts falling all over him. Scruff was in a horrible mess. On the bright side, he looks like his old self again. Whiff pulls up the Scruff and gasps at how messy his lovely new paintwork is. There is a moment of pause. Then Scruff tells Whiff that it's alright, and getting dirty is part of the job. Yay! Scruff's back! Scruff tells Whiff that they should get scrunching. Working together, Whiff and Scruff sorted out all the rubbish. Soon, everything in the rubbish dump was back to normal, and so was Scruff. Hooray! Whiff welcomes Scruff back and says it's great to have him back on the team. Scruff replies by saying that he's glad to be back, and that he'd rather be a really useful engine than a really shiny engine any day. And he puffs away and laughs. So Scruff looks nice in his new coat of paint, but I'm glad he's back. It was really nice to see Gordon, Henry, and James hanging out together like the old days. Their reactions towards Scruff was funny, and Scruff's Percy-like whistle was enjoyable to listen to. So Scruff's makeover was just great, so I'll give this 4 stars out of 5. That was episode 3 of my Thomas and Friends Season 17 reviews. Thank you for listening, and thanks for watching. See ya.